Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so good to be here with you. It is good to be here in our sanctuary once again with Cantor in our Shalom room where we are separated but together at the same time, just as we are separate at one level and yet together at another level. We are preparing for the High Holy Days and preparing for so many programs and exciting things that are coming up. One of the things that you just received an email for yesterday was our discussion on race, a panel discussion on race that is going to be absolutely fabulous and is going to lead into small TAE engaged groups to talk about this important topic that is affecting so many lives. So we hope that you will look at that and be on the lookout for all of the plans that we have for High Holy Days coming up. They are really shaping up to be absolutely wonderful, very exciting. We are also going to be doing streaming for the High Holy Days, just as we are doing here, some live, some recorded, but either way, we are very much going to be with you during those High Holy Days. So I just want to start with a bit of a meditation to move us from all of the experiences that we're having during the week and to move us into the mindset of Shabbat. And so, dear God, help us now to make this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. We seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and infinite possibilities in the world that you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach towards the Holy One, the holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. We continue our service with the singing of Adat Elohim Bakol.
Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Elohim Bakol, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Elohim Bakol, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Elohim Bakol, Elohim Bakol, Adat Elohim Bakol. Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim, Adat Elohim Bakol.
We now turn to our candles as we light our Shabbat candles together. If you are at home and you have candles there with you, go ahead and take them and set them up and join us in the creation of this moment of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
We are so pleased that we can call forward to help lead us in our Kiddush two young women who will be celebrating their Banot Mitzvah tomorrow. So I'd like to call forward Sydney Prober and Alex Ravden to lead us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam morei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lamikra'e kodesh zeher litziat Mizrayim.
Kivanu baharta ve'atanu kidashta mikol ha'amin v'shabbat kodshe'am ve'ahava uvratzon hinhotanu baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha'shabbat.
Now that we've created the Shabbat and sanctified it together, we'd like to welcome the Shabbat, just as we would like to welcome each other. We do that with the singing of Lecha Dodi.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 la Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 b'nei Shabbat nikavela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 b'nei Shabbat nikavela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלחם כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, kiva oreku mi ori, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom hateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emonei am segola, o boi chala, o boi chala. Yadadai, yadai, yalalai, 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 yalalai. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Soul changer, you bring on the evening. You change the light around us. You change the light within us. We hear you whisper gently, this is the sacred time. This is the soul change time. This is the Shabbat, my gift to you. We continue with the singing of Adat Elohim as we acknowledge the great gift of Torah as an expression of God's love for the Jewish people and the world.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chokim u'mishpatim otanu limadta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu בשוכבנו וקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה.
It's not enough to possess the Torah, to be given the Torah. What comes with giving of the Torah and receiving of the Torah is listening to what the Torah has to teach. But listening comes hard to us. Listening comes hard to us. We can sing and read and look, taste and smell and touch. but listening becomes hard. Love does too. Other people's joy and tragedy enter our mind, but listening to the person behind the joy, letting the person underneath the tragedy, that is hard. That takes concentration and a strong will. That takes God. God is to listen. God is to be listened for. The world looks the same. The people all around us look the same. But underneath the ordinary is a special quiet which we cannot see. All we can do is listen. We continue with the singing of Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Amen. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
I'm so pleased that we can call up Alex Ravden, who will be leading us in the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anohi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'am v'shiftecha b'beitecha uvleftecha v'aderech uvshopecha uvkumecha uvshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'tatafot b'neinecha uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha Leman tiskeru b'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kiddushim l'Eloheim ani Adonai Eloheim asher hotzeit yatem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Eloheim.
Praise be to God for the ordinary day, when each minute is filled, when each moment demands. Praise be to God for the day without pain, when our loved ones are well, when we walk hand in hand. Give me the strength to appreciate life when the day is not special, an everyday day, when we sink with exhaustion from a day's work well met. Pray for the chance that we do better yet. Now we sing of the prayer that sings of God's redemption, where the world is better because of what God has done for us. We sing together the Nichamacha.
Ya ya da 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya da ya da 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 Yada 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 la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilot osefele Nora tehilot osefele Machutecha ra'u banecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze Elianu ve'amru Machutecha ra'u banecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Elianu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Ya yada dai 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 yada da dai ya yada 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 da dai yada dai dai yada da dai ya yada dai dai yada dai
Now, some redemptions are physical. That was a national redemption that we just sung about as God took the entire Jewish people out of Egypt and brought us across the Red Sea, giving birth to us in a certain sense as a nation. But the next redemption that we sing about at this section of the service is a more spiritual redemption, where we sing of our relationship with God and about the Shabbat that is going to come. And so we sing that we should keep the Shabbat, and as we keep the Shabbat, it is a sign forever between us and between God.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש
Shabbat v'nafesh.
שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I don't know if you have ever met someone who is an idol of yours, a star, movie star, musician, whom you absolutely love. Sometimes when you go and you meet that person, you can be terribly disappointed because they are only people. And sometimes they can not only meet your expectations, but lift you up to a place where you never expected you could be. In some ways, that's what we do at this section of our service, where we now come and stand in God's presence. And by standing in that presence, we are lifted up by the words that we say, by the relationship that exists, by the hopes and the fears and the ideas that live in our hearts and that we can express so freely to God. And so we first turn to this psalm to put us in that joyous moment of standing in God's presence once again.
Anananananana Adonai Anananananana Sfatai Diftah Anananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Anananananana Adonai Anananananana Sfatai Diftah Anananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Anananananana Adonai Anananananana Sfatai Diftah Anananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Anananananana Adonai Anananananana Sfatai Diftah Anananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
I'm so pleased to call forward Sydney Prober to lead us in our Avot in the Gevurot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarach Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zoher Aseh Avot V'Mahol Umevi Geula Livnei V'Rehem Lama'an Shmo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atav Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatam Mehalkel Hayim Behesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Holim Umatmir Yeshurim Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Yavar Michamo Haba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechayem Umatmir Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lecha hayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye hakol.
We now invite you to take a few moments of silent prayer.
Oh, 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 I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Oh, 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Rofecho basar umafli la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofecho basar umafli la'asot. Oh, 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 oh.
When I was in college, I was already bound for rabbinical school. And one weekend, a cousin of ours brought over a bag to our house. And it was filled with these beautiful old books. They were covered in dust, and their pages were yellowing. When I opened them up, I could see that they were in Hebrew, and I read enough Hebrew to know that they were prayer books and copies of the Psalms and some other books that I was still unfamiliar with. My cousin said, "I think these were Grandpa Sam's." My great-grandfather, Sam, was a pious man, and he would attend shul regularly, and I'm not sure if it was to meet with God or to meet with his friends, but nonetheless, these well-worn books were likely his. But their pages were brittle and incredibly delicate. And the books remained on my shelves for years, really decades. And every once in a while, I would take a volume out and try to pray from its pages. But the pages were so thin that I was only focused on protecting the book and not praying from the book. In addition, as beautiful as the ancient prayer book is, it's not exactly my prayer book. Since the earliest days of our movement, we have continually reformed the prayer book and our style of prayer. Our prayer book looks nothing like my great-grandfather's prayer book. Its prayers are often identical, but just as often they are changed slightly as our understanding of God and the Jewish people have evolved. Now, those sacred writings were transformed from being living books to being museum pieces. The fact that they connected me to my great-grandfather is deeply meaningful to me. But possessing his books didn't feel like I was honoring him or his beliefs. So I wondered, what would he have done with his old books? And then I remembered this week's Torah portion, Re'eh. You see, we're in the book of Deuteronomy right now, and the children of Israel are receiving their final instructions before entering the promised land. But some of these instructions are disturbing. In one section, the Israelites are told to destroy the religious objects of the people living in Israel. Now, I realize that the authors of the Torah were trying to protect the members of their community from gravitating towards other religions. But this inclination to destroy other people's sacred objects feels anachronistic and just unnecessarily cruel. Now, gratefully, it's not the way that we practice our Judaism today. But we do learn an interesting rule, an interesting lesson from this section. See, after listing all of the religious objects and places that we're supposed to destroy, the text says that we're supposed to wipe out the names of other gods. Then it says that we shouldn't act this way towards Adonai. But its meaning isn't really clear. We're not supposed to act in which way? Does it mean that we're not supposed to worship other gods in the same manner that we would worship Adonai? Or, as the rabbis believed, are we not supposed to do to Adonai what we did to the foreign gods? Specifically, we are not supposed to blot out God's name the way we are supposed to blot out the names of other gods. That's why traditionally, we're not supposed to destroy something that has God's name on it. In fact, our soferet, our scribe, who wrote our Torah that was just completed a few years ago, if she was writing our Torah and she made a mistake on some word, it's not a problem. She would take something that works like an eraser and she would remove the word. But if she made a mistake while she was writing God's name, well, that entire sheet that she may have been working on for hours couldn't be used. So what do you do with a page of Torah that can't be used? What do you do with prayer books that can no longer be used? Well, the answer is a geniza. A geniza is a separate container or a room where we keep sacred texts that are unusable. In some traditions, the texts simply remain there in storage like a mausoleum for sacred words. But more often, the texts are taken to a cemetery and buried in consecrated ground. In fact, for anyone who has been to Pierce Brothers Cemetery on Lindero Canyon Road, they actually have a pit dug into the ground where people bring sacred texts to bury. I thought about my great-grandfather's books. Once they were alive and instilling in him a sense of religious spirit, but not now. They simply couldn't convey the message anymore. Their pages were too tired. Their joints and sinews can only survive if they remain untouched and unread. I don't think that was what he would have wanted for his books. And that's not what I wanted for his memory. We often cling to objects that carry memory for us. Where would historians be without people who obsessively store documents? But the contents of these books that he gave us were not unique. They weren't printed on high-quality paper that could last throughout the ages. What made them special was that they were his. But they would be no less his if I treated them with the love and honor that I believe he would have wanted. We are moving into a period of the year where we often hold on to things that are no longer useful. Maybe they are objects, or maybe resentments, or unanswerable questions. This is a good time of year when we should reflect on the objects and the feelings and the memories that we collect. And in that recollection, we can think about whether they are bringing honor and joy and meaning to our lives and our community. And if not, then maybe, just maybe, we can honor what was good in those objects or feelings or memories and allow them to be put to rest. Let's preserve what deserves to be preserved and what needs to be preserved. But it's okay to remember that objects are only sacred because of the meaning that we give them. I took my great-grandfather's books and I looked at them one last time. I imagined him studying and praying from their fraying pages. And then I said goodbye and set them free. Now, while I don't carry those books themselves, I carry something even more important. I carry the story of my great-grandfather's reverence for prayer and love of learning. And that story is one that lifts up his memory and highlights his beliefs and his values. And for me, that's the most precious gift he could ever leave. It's time for us to turn to those people who are in need of healing. And in order to do that, we look at these words from the Mishaberach prayer. As we say the names of those people in our hearts, we say them out loud, and we show our love for them. Mishaberach Avotenu.
Mishaberach Avotenu, Mishaberach Imotenu. May the light of God bring you strength and might. May this blessing heal your soul tonight. Refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, amen. Mishaberach Avotenu, Mishaberach Imotenu. May the words we sing put your mind at ease. May this blessing bring you love and peace. Refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, amen. Mishaberach Avotenu, Mishaberach Imotenu. May the light of God bring you strength and might. May this blessing heal your soul tonight. Amen.
It's time for us to continue in our work of remembering those people who came before us, their deeds that are worth remembering. Those are the things that we should focus on. And we first turn to those people who are in the Shloshim period, whose loved ones died within the past 30 days. We remember Doris Siegel, grandmother of Allison Friedman, mother of Stuart Siegel. Anne Davis Wenkert, mother of Deborah Wenkert. Jerry Lieb, father of Adam Lieb and Gary Lieb. Mort Saperstein, husband of Elaine. Stephen Kurt Reese, son of Tekla Reese. And for Yortzeit, these people who are remembering their loved ones for whom this is the season in which they died. Penny Deutschman, mother of Aileen Hamoi. Ruth Edison, mother of Robert Edison. Peter Fain, father of Erica Fain. Rose Ferber, sister-in-law of B. Ferber. David Forrest, brother of Michael Forrest. Isidore Geller, father of Marlene Bracken. Benjamin Gerber, grandfather of Robin Feldman. Frieda Gerber, grandmother of Robin Feldman. Etta Greenberg, mother-in-law of Mark Stern. Clark Cates, husband of Estelle Cates, father of Brenda Olshever and Leon Olshever, father of Brian Olshever. Gertrude Pincus, mother-in-law of Maud Pincus. Ryan Prisky, grandson of Estelle Cates. Marjorie Pulver, sister of Shirley Dornberg. Mort Soskin, brother-in-law of Audrey Rich. Matilda Temkin, mother of Jerry Temkin. Brian Van Vliet, mother of John Van Vliet. Warren Willingham, father of Judy Shim. Neil Zalonsky, grandmother of Evan Wender. For all of these names, we now take these names in our hearts as we say together this prayer of remembrance. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'elmad Divarach Chirutei v'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yit Barach v'yishtabach v'yit Pa'ar v'yit Romam v'yit Naseh, V'yit Hadar, v'yit Ale, v'yit Halal, Shemei D'Kudusha B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechamata, Da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mramav, Hu ya'aseh Shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. May the one who creates peace on high, let peace descend on us, on all Israel. To that we say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Hu ya'aseh Shalom, Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom b'mromav, ואמרו אמן.
We hope to see you at our online Oneg Shabbat right after the service. It is always so good to spend time with you here and afterwards as well. It is one of the ways that we can stay connected with each other. So let's reach out, give each other a spiritual hug, and I want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.
You know, Rabbi, before we sing our last song, I'm in a position where I can see you great. And in front of you, I see the drum that you played back in March at our last service together. And I'm wondering if you would indulge me for this. I know we haven't practiced this at all, and you're totally unprepared, but I would love it if you would get that drum so that we could make some music together, not just with our voices.
I hope it's not too loud, guys.
Ya ya da 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 ya da 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya da 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 ya da 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya da 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 ya ya da 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 ya da 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya ya da 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 ya la 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 ya ya da 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 ya da 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya ya la 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 ya la la la.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.